Welcome back to On Texas Football. I'm CJ Vogel, joined by Gerry Hamilton for this Saturday update. We are on campus right now, right across the street from Darrell K. Royal Stadium. Of course, that's where a lot of coaches are on campus for the Texas Football Coaches Clinic this weekend, as well as practice number 9 of the spring, which is going to be seen by a lot of 26, 27, and even some 28 visitors, Jerry. But right now, a few big ones on campus that we got to start with. We saw Emmett Mosley again, the portal wide receiver out of Stanford, but a big visitor is back on campus from the state of Texas in the 2026 class for the second time in 3 weeks.
Yeah, we're going to start in-state, then we'll get to all the out-of-state names, and there are plentiful from out-of-state. But Kosi Paula walked in with his mom this morning. That's 2 visits in 3 weeks, and that's actually 2 in 2 weeks, that is. So we think that's very much worthy of mentioning right off the top because we believe Texas is a big leader for Kosi Paula, the 6'2", 219-pound linebacker out of Mady Creek in the Houston area. We think Texas has been on top for him for a while. So he is here with his mom. He was not on one of the initial visit lists because he had just been in town, which is interesting. The last time he was in town was the day Steve Sarkisian missed practice due to the birth, now what we now know, the birth of a child. So that's why he missed practice that day. And that is the last time Kosi Paula was on campus. Then another name that wasn't on the visitor list that walked in with multiple family members is Chase Calicut out of North Shore, the safety hybrid athlete linebacker, 6'3.5", 195 from North Shore. So those are 2 in-state guys that we weren't sure if they were going to be here. Well, they showed up this morning, both of them early enough to get in on some team meetings.
Yeah, of course, Shaheem Riley, the 2026 Austin Anderson cornerback on campus as well, keeping a close eye on that one as well. But a big 5-star visitor on campus from out of state. Let's go to him. Currently committed to USC, Xavier Griffin on campus. We've seen this is around the time Texas starts to make some moves for guys out of state who may not have Texas ties or that real connection to Texas. Getting him on campus for a spring practice today, big news for the Longhorns.
Yeah, Xavier Griffin got in yesterday. Obviously, we publicized that he's been on campus now with a family member for 2 days. So we think this will lead to an official visit for the Texas Longhorns. He currently has USC as his only official visit that's public, and that's June 20th. But obviously, Texas, Georgia, you name it, everybody's trying to get Xavier Griffin on campus and to a June official visit. And we do believe Texas stands a really good chance to get Xavier Griffin on campus for an official visit. We're just waiting on that date officially to come out from the 6'4", 210-pound 5-star linebacker.
There's plenty of defensive linemen on campus as well. Before we get to them, Jerry, look, you broke the news yesterday. Texas hosting a portal visitor from Stanford, wide receiver Emmett Mosley. That's big news.
Huge.
This is one that we knew Texas was going to go to the portal for a wide receiver. We just didn't know who. Portal has yet to open, but with the change at coach for Stanford, this allows Mosley to go out, enter himself in the portal, as well as take some visits. Set some freshman records last year at Stanford, right? Receptions, receiving touchdowns, and oddly enough, second all-time in Stanford for true freshmen in receiving yards for a season behind Richard Sherman. So certainly keeping an eye on him as well.
Yeah, no doubt. A guy that is 6'2", 190, looks great physically, really good route runner, makes plays after the catch with the football. But look, he's currently the best wide receiver in the portal. Now, the portal doesn't officially open until Wednesday, but getting him Mosley on campus here is a big deal for the Texas Longhorns. He was at Virginia earlier in the week. His dad played football at Notre Dame. His mom was a soccer All-American at Notre Dame, won the National Player of the Year, which is equivalent to the Heisman Trophy or the Naismith in basketball. I mean, she was that level soccer player. He has a younger brother that Texas offered, Trent Mosley, that Chris Jackson really likes in his 26 class. He's committed to USC, though, and he told Texas he was staying close to home. So we'll see what happens with Emmett Mosley's recruitment. But the fact that they've got him on campus and he gets to watch a scrimmage this morning, a 2-day visit, a lot of time with Chris Jackson, Steve Sarkisian, Arch Manning, and the Texas team. Very positive development.
On top of that, 2 big names from the in-state. Let's go back to Texas in the 26 class. KJ Edwards out of Carthage is on campus, as well as 5-star offensive lineman out of North Crowley, John Turntime, all 240 pounds of them, am I right? But both of them are back on campus, and both of them, again, getting to see Steve Sarkisian, the Texas staff, Kyle Flug, and, well, first time for KJ Edwards here seeing Chad Scott.
Yeah, so KJ Edwards looks good physically. That's the first thing for him. I mean, he's legitimate 180, 185 pounds right now. Got that frame to carry 200 pounds in time. Looks sleek, fast, strong. But a guy that we think likes Texas an awful lot in KJ Edwards, the running back, 4-star plus running back out of Carthage. Then there's John Turntine. We have him ranked as a 5-star. We'll stand by it. Great football player. He's here with both family members, mom and dad. He has a sister that goes to Huston-Tillotson. I think another sister that goes to Texas.
Yep.
So a lot of ties to Austin in the University of Texas for Turntine. But at Texas A&M is real competition there with Texas. He has Tennessee scheduled for an official visit as well. He made it unofficial there in January instead of attending Texas Junior Day, January 20th. This is the first time Turntine's been on campus in 2025. He's been to A&M. He's been to Tennessee. But we feel like Texas is in a good spot for John Turntine, but a long way to go because there's so many talented offensive linemen in this class. Felix Ojo was here last weekend. He's at Ohio State this weekend.
And
Florida. How are the dominoes going to fall on the offensive line is the question. We think Texas will walk away with one of these in-state guys, but a lot of it's timing and how these dominoes are going to fall.
What's interesting, I don't know if you picked up on it, but whenever Turntine and his family were walking up, he was greeted as Dr. John's back on campus.
Dr. John Turntine, yeah. John Turntine, that's funny, CJ, you remember that, was top 5, not 5%, top 5 of his graduating class, or he was at one point, I think, number 2 in his class, and he was going to be a pre-med major for a long time. Neuroscience.
Brain.
Yes, and we'll see if he continues down that path, but a true student athlete is what John Turntine is.
Of course, flipping to the other side of the line of scrimmage, plenty of defensive linemen.
Oh,
we saw
man.
It about 2 weeks ago, Jerry. It was Kyle Flood's weekend with some of these big-time offensive linemen. Well, it's certainly Kenny Baker's weekend this weekend here, April 12th. Again, you got Bryce Perry right out of Georgia, James Johnson out of Florida, Corey Wells out of Mississippi, and then you got to go up to New Jersey for a new name, Damari Simeon, who we got to see walk in Friday afternoon. What's your big takeaway here, and kind of the theme around this big defensive line room?
So I think Damari Simeon, he isn't ranked there, but I think the rankings will catch up with the tape and the talent. He's been one of the top handful of defensive linemen I've seen on tape in the 26 class. I think he is an absolute stud prospect. Here's the question of all the colleges have had, because he's not a combine guy. He's not a guy that is out there on social media a lot.
Right.
How big is he actually? He's been listed anywhere from 6'2", 265 to 6'3", 275. Well, he showed up at Texas at 6'2 1/4", 289. So he is bigger than anticipated, taller. That's without shoes on. That's taller without shoes on, weighs more than anticipated. Now that recruitment becomes real for Texas. I think they'll try to get an official visit out of him. He was at Tennessee a couple of weeks ago, Ohio State, Penn State. They all want him, Auburn, Texas A&M. I look for Damari Simeon to become a priority recruit for Texas as long as that meeting works out well and everybody thinks it's a fit. Corey Wells out of Petal, Mississippi, over the ball player, looked really good, bigger. He's a legit 6'5", 290, 300 pounds walking in this morning. The guy at Texas offered in late January, I believe it was, but maybe it was even in early March, but really good player.
Yeah, look good.
Dre Quinn, the edge, first visit to Texas for Dre Quinn, the edge out of Greater Atlanta Christian. Bryce Perry right back on campus. Dre Quinn's got a full slate of official visits.
All 5 so far. So, obviously no limit on official visits these days, but he's got 5 already set for the month of June. Let's see what Texas can do today to maybe get themselves a 6th one on his visit list as well. But this is going to be a big week for Texas, for Kenny Baker specifically. We just mentioned all these guys on campus. It's going to be a big week for, you look back at the back of the room, it's for Mark Orfe, for Dwayne Aquina, Kenoto Hudson, obviously, with Raheem Riley back on campus.
Yeah.
But I wanted to mention Chase Calicut, now back on campus. That was a familiar name. Obviously, Michigan started to make a run there. Texas felt pretty good early on in the cycle. But on top of that, Samari Matthews,
a big visitor for Texas.
Good. You talked
Looks
about
good, man.
What Texas is targeting in terms of length and size. Whew.
Yeah, he has a tremendous frame. He's a guy that was Mark Orfe's first offer, as I've said a number of times. He's out of Huff High in Cornelius, North Carolina, just north of Charlotte, right by Davidson. Pretty cool spot to grow up, by the way. That was Mark Orfe's first offer at Texas. He immediately scheduled a June 13th through 15th official visit. He really likes Texas, but this is his first visit to Texas at the same time. So he just likes the Texas program from afar. Now Samari Matthews, the 4-star plus corner, gets to take a look at Texas up close with his parents, and he will be back June 13th, 15th for an official visit. The competition is South Carolina, Clemson, and Florida State. Those are the 4 official visits he has set. I really think South Carolina, Clemson, and Texas are where this is at. Not underestimating Pat Surtain recruiting him for FSU, but I really think this is South Carolina and Clemson versus Texas right now. And then at wide receiver, Mason James.
Yes.
I wanted to mention Mason James out of Norman North, baby. He's in enemy territory today, visiting Texas for the first time. Wide receiver that Chris Jackson offered recently. Has put up sub 1,100 meter times late this spring, but a really good all-around wide receiver. He's got a lot of quick twitchiness off the line of scrimmage. He's a fast starter. He gets in the routes really quick, changes directions really well. May not be the 4-3 guy blazer down the field, but he is a really solid wide receiver. He has Oklahoma scheduled June 20th. I do think Texas will get an official visit out of this unofficial visit today. So another wide receiver that'll be added to the mix. But we have Hayward Howard, the corner out of the car, supposed to be here today. We haven't necessarily seen him, but we hear he's here. But there's the talent. I've been saying on ontexasfootball.com, it'd be at least 20, 25 combined 5-star, 4-stars in the 26-27 class. I think it's going to exceed that. It's going to be closer to 30.
Yeah, I was sitting there watching these guys walk in. Physically, they all look impressive, obviously. But the names that we saw, Jerry, I think it surprised both of us in terms of the list of guys on campus. One other guy that I think we need to mention, at least for now, is Gavin Strange, the kicker out of South Lake Carroll. As of last year, he was ranked the number 1 kicker in America by Chris Saylor. Of course, Texas has an official visit already set up with Grammatica out of Florida for the month of June. But look, kid in your backyard on campus right now in South Lake, certainly starting to produce more and more talent like they did back in the heyday of Chase Daniels, and you go back through it. But on top of that, some 27 visitors I wanted to get to. We saw Amari Vickerson, the defensive lineman out of Cy Ranch again. But Peyton Houston, the quarterback out of Shreveport Evangel Christian Academy, back on campus. He was down in Austin area for 2 or 3 days earlier in March for the Elite 11. Now getting to meet with the Texas staff. He takes calls with A.J. Milby every single Wednesday. That's one to watch. But one other name I want you to mention, and this comes in the 28 class, Jerry, Neiman Lawrence out of Florida. Bigger body than I anticipated. I was a bit surprised seeing that. Another quarterback on campus, and anytime a quarterback arrives in Austin, you got to talk about it.
I think this is the first ever quarterback from Miami Northwestern to visit Texas. I don't think Teddy Bridgewater ever did, right? I think this is the first quarterback to visit Texas from Miami Northwestern. Now, obviously, Diabell's here, so there's 2 South Florida quarterbacks here. Diabell has a Vince Young shirt on. It's really cool. Check my Twitter on that, or on Texas football on that. But yeah, a young kid that's showing interest in Texas, made the trip up with James Johnson, the D lineman who's going to Miami Northwestern. He's actually at North Fort Myers now. But he's transferring to Miami Northwestern. He's a stud 26 D lineman. But Neiman Lawrence, first time on campus for him. We expect him to be back probably in the summer for camp. And I wanted to leave you guys with this. If somebody was like, hey, Jerry, CJ, who was the best looking cat on the hoof? I'd probably say Hezzy Kent.
Yeah.
Because people have said, was he Hezzy Kent an offensive tackle? Is he a tight end? He looks like a jumbo tight end. He did not. I mean, he looks
at 300 pounds. There's no way.
No chance. I would say he's 6'5", 280, 275, 280 in that range. A guy that I'm going to go see in May when spring practices are going in Brunswick, Georgia. And a guy, that doesn't have a Georgia official visit set. We think Texas has a legitimate shot here. Now, Miami, Florida, Alabama, they all have official visits. They're all in it. But we think Texas has a legit shot at Hezzy Kent. We're not saying they're going to get him, but we think this is a real recruitment for Jeff Banks.
Yeah, he looked really physically impressive. As did Drake Quinn, again, another cat out of Atlanta. But, Jerry, I want to leave the folks with this. So big visit days always leave the question. Will we get a high? Will we get some news? Right now, Texas, obviously, it remains to be seen, but plenty of prospects that we think could potentially pull the trigger, whether it be today, down the road, etc. Well, what do you want to see today, Jerry, about whether it be a Mason James, whether it be a Drake Quinn? Is there anything specific out of today that you would consider a success for Texas out of their April 12th junior day? Yeah,
I think the out-of-state guys who Texas has on campus for the first time, do they solidify official visits with those guys? Damari Simeon, who I think is going to be – Texas is going to be a player and is going to push for Simeon after showing up at 6'2 and a quarter, 289. Corey Wells out of Petal, Mississippi. He has Mississippi State scheduled on June 20th. Will Texas set up that official visit? I think they probably will. So that's what I'm looking at is which of these guys get official visits set today. Sorry, my allergies are killing me. Get official visits set today that don't already have them. And we're also somewhat on commitment watch today. We're not guaranteeing it, but we're poking around on something right now.
Well, there we go. Maybe not a high, but maybe a wink.
Yeah.
Who knows? But we'll keep you updated over On Texas Football and obviously over on the Twitter feeds as well. So stay updated to the channel and on ontexasfootball.com. For Gerry Hamilton, I'm CJ Vogel, and this has been a Saturday recruiting update for On Texas Football. Welcome.